So this is, as we move into Unit 5, this week's discussion will be on object-oriented design. So what is object-oriented design? Object-oriented design is the process of planning a system of interacting objects for the purpose of solving a software problem. It is one approach to software design. So what are object-oriented design objects? Well, objects contain encapsulated data and procedures that are grouped together to represent an entity. The object interface defines how the object can be interacted with. Object-oriented program is defined by the interaction of these objects. What are some input sources for object-oriented design? Well, there's the conceptual module, the result of object-oriented analysis. It captures concepts in the problem domain. There's the use case. It's a description of sequences of events that, taken together, lead to a system doing something useful. Another input source for object-oriented design is system sequence diagram. It's a picture that shows a particular scenario of a use case, events that external actors generate, their order, and possible inter-system events. What is a user interface documentation? Well, it's basically documentation that shows and describes look and feel of the end product's user interface. And then you have another input source, which is called your relational data model. It's basically a description of sequences of events that, taken together, lead to a system doing something useful. There are 5 basic concepts of object-oriented design. First one is object class. It's a tight coupling of associated data structures with the methods or functions that act on the data. Then there's information hiding. It's the ability to protect some components of the object from external entities. Then there is inheritance. Inheritance is the ability for a class to extend or override functionality of another class. And then there's interface object-oriented programming. The ability to defer the implementation of a method, the ability to define the functions or method signatures without implementing them. Another concept of object-oriented design is polymorphism, specifically subtyping. It's the ability to replace an object with its subobjects, the ability of an object variable to contain not only that object, but also all of its subobjects. So we're also looking at design patterns this week. So what is a design pattern? Well, it's not a finished design. It's a description of a solution to a common problem in context. The main advantage of using a design pattern is that it can be reused in multiple applications. It can also be thought of as a template for how to solve a problem that can be used in many different situations and or applications. So that's just a little introduction to this week's discussion. Hope everybody has a good week.